Good morning, it's Ruby and welcome back to another university vlog. So today it is Saturday and I've got quite a long to-do list. I've got a lot of English reading to do. If you didn't know, I actually changed courses. So I'm no longer studying philosophy and theology, I'm studying English. Well, hopefully, if this last form goes through, which is really, really exciting. And I'm honestly so excited to do this work. So here I was going through the recommended extended reading for the Odyssey. We looked at the Emily Wilson translation in our seminars, and honestly this translation is incredible, so modern, so filled with emotion and so rhythmic as well. You can definitely appreciate its power orally when you read it. So the first thing I was doing, since my copy of the Odyssey hadn't arrived yet, I was going through the introduction on Google Books and just writing up some keynotes. It's a very long introduction actually. As a translator's note, I think it's about 100 pages. So because I don't technically do English yet, I need to keep on finding the early pages. Then I also watched some interviews with her. So in this first one, the really important theme was the question of what she thought about being the first woman to translate the Odyssey and how she thinks that influenced her translation. So Emily Wilson was the first woman to translate the Odyssey into English, but actually I was reading on a Twitter thread that she was engaged in that she didn't really like the people making a point of that, because she's only the first woman to translate it in full. There have been women who are classicists and who have translated aspects of it. And then I was also reading a few articles. Today I actually separated my day into sections depending on the kind of task that I wanted to do, so that I could quite easily switch. The first section was beginnings, then I had YouTube stuff, then this is criticisms readings, then I had chores, I had some more beginnings, I had some emails, and then I had just general things. By the way, just to say, I am having such a good time. This is so interesting. So then I got back to reading some articles. This one was again on Emily Wilson, and it was an article from the New Yorker. This article was actually about Virgil, but it was very interesting to consider in terms of structure and how the Aeneid differed from that as an epic. So thinking about the epic structure, it makes a lot more sense when you think about it in terms of other ones. So I did some reading on the Iliad as well, which was a very useful comparison. I also had a YouTube video to upload, so I went through and took some screenshots so that I could use these in the thumbnail. This was my lecture of my first day of lectures, which also ironically turned out to be my last full day of just doing philosophy and theology lectures. If you're interested, I'm going to show you how you would monetize a video. So with each video, you'll just check this box saying to monetize, and then you self-rate your video, basically just saying if you've got any inappropriate content, and then you choose your ad formats. You can see that I turn off overlay ads and I turn off non-skippable ads, and then I keep sponsored cards and skippable video ads on. That video is all done, and that marks that's half of the YouTube stuff that I wanted to get done in this little session. The people in the flat downstairs came over for like 2 hours and we chatted, we got to know them, and now I'm back in my room and this rain. Listen. Okay, so I'm actually very cold. I'm gonna get a hot water bottle in a second, but first I just want to get the last few bits on the YouTube section of today's to-do list done. So as I said, I started off by finishing off my YouTube admin. And then I went on to doing my other chores. So for example, I really wanted to go through my wardrobe a little bit more and basically rearrange how I'd organised everything. So I hung up a few more items, I put my towels at the bottom. It just made everything a little easier to access. And then this is the next day, because I didn't film everything that I did that evening. So when I woke up, I decided to do some reading. I didn't actually film everything I did this morning, but basically it consisted of reading, and more reading. Basically just doing loads of extra seminar prep ready for next week, and also reading the core criticism texts. Good morning, it's Ruby, and I'm sorry I didn't actually film pretty much at all this morning. So I thought I charged both camera batteries overnight, but I hadn't, so I only filmed a little bit of what I was doing. But I did some marks reading. Then I did lots of expense tracking. Because it's the end of the month, it's a really good time for you to track all of your expenses. So I separate my expense tracking into anything which is to do with YouTube is like separate. So for example, I had to buy a new GoPro charger recently. I would track that as a YouTube expense because it's to do with camera equipment. All of my food goes in another place for university. I have 4 spreadsheets. Then I have another spreadsheet which is anything which is related to when I'm at university. So for example, if I went out for dinner, if I had to buy some plasters, buy anything homeware related whilst I'm at university, that goes in a different one. And then anything else goes on my main personal, which is usually the smallest of them because I only really use it for if I'm buying gifts for people. So whilst I was out, I went to see some friends. So one of the things I did was go to Rabbit Cafe with my friend Julia. Honestly, Julia is one of my favourite people. If you're wondering, I really didn't film whilst I was out, but I went to the Farmers Union because there was a theology social there and everyone was having a pub lunch. I didn't actually eat at the pub lunch, but I went to go and catch up with some people, and then afterwards I went for lunch, like a late lunch with my friend Julia at the Rabbit Cafe, which is an amazing vegan place, and we both got sushi bowls and I got an Oreo milkshake, which was just insanely good. Now I'm back and it's 4:30 and I'm doing something in the evening as well. We're going to, as a flat, we're going to Turtle Bay, and we're also going to go and see Downton Abbey at the cinema, which I've never watched the show, so I'm really intrigued. But before we go, I want to get some things done. I've mainly got my work done actually. But I want to put up my Polaroids on my wall because I haven't got around to doing that yet. So when I was back, I decided to make a meal plan for the rest of the week. I like to do this on Sunday because it means that I don't end up opening cans and things or pita bread packets and then not finishing them and letting things go off. So I think it's a really good thing to do, and I also wanted to make this weekly schedule, so I made a list of everything I wanted to do every week. And then I went and hung up my Polaroid pictures above my bed. It looked so much better, less empty, more homely. And then I also, here's a sneak peek. The actual video for this is going to be going up on my IGTV, but we redecorated our living room a little bit, and that was what I did with my flatmates right before we went out. We didn't end up going to Turtle Bay, we only went to go and see Downton, but it was a really nice evening, really enjoyed it. So I hope that you enjoyed this weekend in my life at university, and I hope that you have a productive week.